Good day everyone. Our report covers Chapter 19, which includes the following topics. First, working with interest rates, calculating the future value, working towards an investment goal, and lastly, building an investment schedule. So, for my part, I will be discussing working with interest rates, which is essential in finance and also in investment. As mentioned in Chapter 18, interest rate serves as the mechanism that transforms a present value into a future value. Conversely, when used as a discount rate, they help to determine the present of a future sum. So understanding how to work with funds, whether you are saving, investing, or borrowing money. When dealing with interest rates, it is important to be comfortable with the certain financial terminologies and also concepts. So one of the most critical aspects to remember is the interest rates, time period, and payment schedule must align. If these factors are inconsistent, then the calculations may lead to misleading financial conclusions. So to fully understand this concept, let's go through some key points, including simple and compound interest and also the nominal versus effective interest rates. So for the next slide, let's go to understanding compound interest. Interest rates can be classified into simple and compound interest. So when we say simple interest, it means that the interest earned remains the same each period. It is calculated on the initial principal amount. For example, meron kang 10,000 pesos na ininvest mo na meron siyang 10% simple interest kada taon. So, ibig sabihin nun, taon-taon makakatanggap ka ng 1,000 pesos na interest, which is yung 10% ng 10,000 pesos mo. So, kahit umabot siya ng 5 taon, yung investment mo is pare-parehas pa rin yung interest na matatanggap mo, which is yung 1,000 pa rin. However, when we say compound interest, it works differently. Instead of earning interest only on the principal, you also earn interest on the interest accumulated from the previous period. So this concept is also known as compounding. For example, meron ka ulit 10,000 pesos na ininvest mo sa isang account na meron ding 10% compound interest kada taon. Mag-iiba yung interest nun na kikitain niya bawat taon. So, for example, for the first year, kikita siya ng 1,000 pesos. Kaya magiging 11,000 na yung total balance mo. For the second year, yung 10% na ikakalculate mo is based na dun sa 11,000. Kaya kikita siya ng 1,100 pesos. So, for the third year naman, magiging 12,100 na siya, which is yung balance mo. And yung interest nun is kikita ng 1,210. So, makikita natin na habang tumatagal siya is mas lumalaki yung interest na natatanggap niya. Dahil nga sa compounding effect na tinatawag. So, kung mas madalas yung period niya, for example, semi-annually, quarterly, or monthly, is mas mabilis na lalaki yung pera na ininvest mo. So, dahil dito, mas advantageous yung compound interest para sa mga nag-i-invest. Pero mas mahal naman ito para sa mga uutang. Kasi, yung total na babayaran nila is mas mataas kumpara dun sa simple interest na isahang bayaran lang siya. Kahit na ilang years pa yung lumipas. And for the last slide naman is the nominal versus effective interest rates. So, one of the most important distinctions when working with interest rates is the difference between the nominal interest rates and the effective interest rates. So these two rates can significantly impact the financial decisions especially when evaluating investment, loans, or even savings account. So when we say nominal interest rates, it is the stated or quoted annual interest rate before taking compounding into account. It is typically expressed alongside its compounding frequency. For example, may isang bangko na nag-aalok ng 10% nominal interest rate na compounded semi-annually. So when we say semi-annually, yung interest niya is hindi lang isang beses sa isang taon, kundi dalawang beses sa dalawang taon or sabihin na natin every 6 months siya. So, pero yung actual na amount ng interest na ma-earn niya or mababayaran sa kanya is maybe higher than 10% because of compounding nga na tinatawag. So, next is the effective interest rate. So, this represents the actual interest earned or paid over a year. So, taking compounding into account, since interest is applied at multiple intervals within the year, the total interest accrued will be greater than, for example, kung may 10% kang nominal interest rate na compounded semi-annually, yung actual na interest na kikitain nun is hindi eksaktong 10% lang, kundi magiging 10.25. Dahil na-compound ulit into dun sa kalahati ulit na 6 months. So, ganito siya para mas maintindihan nyo. For example, sa first 6 months, makakatanggap ka ng 5%, matatanggap mo yung 5% ng puhunan mo. Kung 10,000 yung initial amount, magiging 10,500 siya after 6 months. So, sa pangalawang 6 months, yung 5% na interest mo is hindi lang yung original na 10,000 mo, kundi kasama na rin yung naunang 500 pesos na interest. Kaya kikita siya ng 525. So, ang magiging total balance mo is 11,025 pesos. So, dahil dito, yung actual na interest na kinita mo sa buong taon is hindi lang 1,000 kung nominal rate yung susundin. Kung 25. So, I hope clear siya, although parang medyo magulo ng konti. So, this distinction is important because two financial products with the same nominal rate can have different actual returns or costs depending on their compounding frequency. A loan or investment with monthly compounding will result in a higher effective rate than the annual compounding. That's why when comparing interest rates or loans, saving accounts, or investment, it is always better to look at the effective interest rates as it provides a more accurate representation of the true cost or return of money over time. So, to summarize my reports, working with interest rates requires understanding of how different factors influence financial calculations, ensuring that the interest rate, time period, and payment schedule must align, katulad nga nung sinabi ko kanina. So, furthermore, recognizing the difference between nominal and effective interest rate is important for evaluating financial products, as the effective interest rate provides a more accurate measure of the actual interest earned or paid over time. Whether you're investing, saving, or borrowing, mastering these concepts will allow you to make informed financial decisions. So, always look beyond the nominal rate and consider the compounding effect as it significantly impact your financial outcomes.
Good morning, everyone. I am Ronna as Ramas, and I will be supplementing Miss Junio's report. So, have you ever wondered how much money you're really earning from your savings or investments? You might see a bank advertising a 10% interest rate, but is that really what you're earning? The truth is, pwede nating malaman kung ilan talaga ang kikitain natin from our investments using manual computation. And we can do this using this formula. This one. Effective interest rate is equal to 1 plus nominal rate over n per year, or the number of compounding periods per year, raised to number of compounding periods per year minus 1. To explain further, let us solve a problem. You have 10,000 pesos to invest, and two banks offer a 10% annual interest rate. But there's a catch. Bank A compounds annually or once a year, and Bank B compounds monthly. The question is, how much more interest did Bank B provide compared to Bank A? So following the formula, effective annual interest rate or EAR, 1 plus nominal rate, which is 10%, over number of periods per year. So, since Bank B compounds annually, N per year is equivalent to 12. Raised to 12 again, minus 1. Solving first the calculations inside the parentheses, 0.10 over 12 plus 1 raised to 12. We have 1.1047 minus 1 effective annual interest rate is equal to 0.1047 or simply 10.47%. This just means na Bank B gives 4.47% more than Bank A per year. So having gone through the manual computations, it is evident that it can be time-consuming, at the same time prone siya sa human error. The good news is we don't have to do all of this manually. Thanks to technology, we can perform these interest rate calculations quickly, accurately, and effortlessly. That's why the subsequent reporters will walk you through how to use Excel for these financial computations.
Everyone, I am Pauleen May, and I will be discussing today the converting between the nominal rate and the effective rate. So first, let's define this.
Nominal interest rate is the stated annual rate, not accounting for compounding effects. Effective interest rate is the actual annual rate paid due to compounding, and compounding periods or time period or the number of times interest is applied per year. For example, annually, semi-annually, monthly, or daily. So our function here is effect, nominal rate, and annual rate. So I prepared here a table which we will use for the function. So as with this we have a compounding frequency of annually, a compounding period of 1, and nominal annual rate of 10%. So to get the effective annual rate, we will use the function. So gawin din natin siya sa effect. So para hindi natin siya gawin the rest dito, you can use remix reference. Ilalagay tayo ng $sign before this. Dito. So that's our effective annual rate. So what, for example, nakuha na natin yung effective annual rate and natin naman natin yung nominal annual rate. Ang gagamitin natin function is ito, nominal effect rate and the time period. So ito at nominal. It's compounding period. So I'm going to implement some so you can see that parehas lang yung lumabas dito tsaka dito. So let's try changing this to 11%. Let's see if parehas yung lumabas. Ayan. Same naman siya. Of course, yung probability yung dito. So, palitan natin. So, that's how we get the effective annual rate and the nominal annual rates.
Hello everyone, I'm Ruth Ann Dipasupil and let us now know how to use the future value function in Excel. So, familiar naman na tayo sa manual computation nito, so let me teach you an easier way on how to calculate this. So, we will be needing this formula in computing the fair value of investment through Excel. As you can see, meron siyang rate, which is the fixed rate of interest over the term of investment. The NPER or NPER is the number of periods in the term of investments. The PMT is the payment or amount deposited every period. The default amount is 0. The PV or the present value is the initial deposit. Default amount is also 0. And the type is the type of deposit and applicable to sa annuities because we use 0 as default or for the end of the period and 1 for beginning of the period. I have an example here. Suppose you deposited a 10,000 in a bank that pays 5% annual interest. If you plan to keep the funds for 10 years, how much will you have accumulated? And let's use the formula to calculate the future value of a lump sum investment. So the interest rate is already given, which is 5%. The term is 10 years. So deposit per period is we will use the default amount, which is 0 because it is a lump sum and one-time deposit lang siya. Next is the initial payment, which is 10,000 pesos, but we will put this as a negative 10,000. Bakit negative? So, this is negative amount because it is a cash outflow. And it is also represents the money that we deposited or invested. And the deposit type is 0 because it is neither beginning of the period or end of a period. Let's just type the formula and we will already get the future value of a lump sum investment, which is 16,288.95.
Good day everyone, my name is Paula Bianca Macaraeg, and today I'll explain how to calculate the future value of a series of deposits using Excel's FV function. So ito ay ginagamit kapag gusto nating malaman kung magkano ang magiging value ng isang investment kapag tayo ay regularly nagde-deposit ng fixed amount sa loob ng isang tiyak na panahon. So the FV function in Excel helps calculate the future value of an investment based on periodic payments, and the formula used is FV, rate, and per PMT 0 type. So ang rate naman, ito ang interest rate per period. For example, yung monthly or yearly. Ang N per naman, total number of periods o kung ilang beses magaganap ang deposit. Ang PMT, fixed na halaga ng deposit kada period. Ang 0 naman, ang ibig sabihin nito ay walang initial deposit. And lastly, ang type kung kailan nangyayari ang deposit, beginning or end of the period. So for example, sa figure 19.3, makikita natin ang isang example kung saan $100 kada buwan ang idinideposit sa loob ng 10 years na may 5% annual interest rate. And dahil monthly ang deposit, need nating i-convert ang annual rate to monthly rate, which is 5% divided by 12. And ang total number of periods or N per naman ay 10 times 12, which is 120 months. So, pag gagamitin naman natin as Excel formula, meron tayo ditong equal sign, FV, open parenthesis, B2 divided by 12, B3 times 12, B4, B5, B6, and close parenthesis. And after natin ma-enter yan, meron tayong total ng $15,528.23. So, ang regular na pag-iipon ay lumalaki dahil sa compound interest, kaya mas okay pa rin na mag-umpisa ng maaga. And dapat tama ang pagkaka-adjust ng interest rate at periods depende sa deposit frequency, which is yung monthly, quarterly, etc. And lastly, Excel's FV function makes investment planning easier. It helps us forecast savings or retirement funds. And that's it for my discussion. Thank you for listening.
So, good day everyone. My name is Trisha Milanes and my topic is all about the future value of lump sum deposits. So, na-discuss naman na sa mga past subjects natin yung tungkol sa future value and lump sum deposits. Now, we will calculate the future value of investment that includes initial deposit and regular monthly contributions. The goal is to determine how much the investment will grow over time, considering compound interest. So, as we all know, compound interest is the interest calculated on both the initial principal and all of the previously accumulated interest. So we are going to use the FB function of Excel to compute for the future value of lump sum deposits. So this is the formula: equals FB, open parenthesis, then rate and per, PMT, PV, type, then close parenthesis. This formula will help us to compute for the future value of lump sum deposits easier and faster. Rate here is the interest rate per period, and per is the total number of periods. PMT is the regular deposit amount. PV is the initial deposit, and type specifies whether deposits are made at the end or beginning of each period. So dito sa type, if the deposits are made at the beginning of each period, ang ilalagay natin is number 1. If the deposits naman are made at the end of each period, ang ilalagay is 0. So, optional lang naman itong type. If hindi natin siya isasama sa formula, Excel will automatically assumes that it is 0, which means that deposits are made at the end of each period. So, may given example sa book. Interest rate is 5% annually. Term is 10 years. Deposit per month is $100. Initial deposit is $10,000 and deposit type is 0, which means that the deposits are made at the end of each period. So now we are going to compute for the future value. So to compute, just type equal, then FV, open parenthesis, then click the rate, which is 5%. Since the deposits are made monthly, we need to convert it to monthly rate. So, we're going to divide it by 12. Then, next is the number of period. So, the investment lasts for 10 years. And since interest is calculated monthly, we will convert it to months. So, we're going to multiply it by 12. Next is the deposit per month. Given na siya, $100. Kiklik na lang. Next is the initial deposit, which is $10,000. Given na rin. And last is the deposit type. So, ito yung sinasabi ko kanina. 0 if the deposits are made at the end of the period, and 1 if the deposits are made at the beginning of each period. So, deposit type is 0. Then, close parenthesis and enter. And we will get the future value, which is $31,998.32. So, ganun lang kadali kunin yung future value ng lump sum deposits using the FB function of Excel.
Good day, everyone. Today we'll be tackling working toward an investment goal. Instead of just saying there an investment will end up, it's often desirable to have a specific monetary goal in mind and then ask yourself, what will it take to get me there? Answering that question means solving for one of the four main future value parameters: interest rate, number of periods, regular deposit, and initial deposit, while holding the other parameters, and of course, your future value goal constant. The next four sections take you through this process. So this lesson emphasizes the importance of setting a clear financial target when investing, rather than simply watching the investment to grow. To achieve this goal, we need to focus on the four main future value parameters, the key factors that determine how much the investment will be worth at a certain period. It is true naman na pag nag-invest tayo, we should know what its concept, how does it cycle, kung paano ito umiikot, kung ano yung investment na pinasukan natin. So these parameters includes the interest rate, number of periods, regular deposit, and initial deposit. The interest rate is the percentage by which the investment grows. This is the rate at which your investment grows over a time. A higher interest rate results in faster growth, while a lower interest rate means slower growth. The number of periods is how long the investment lasts. This refers to the length of time the investment will grow, usually measured in years, months, or other intervals. The more periods, the longer your money has to compound. The regular deposit is the additional contributions made over time. This is the amount contributed periodically, either monthly or annually, to the investment. Increasing the regular deposit can help you reach your goal faster, and the initial deposit is the starting amount. The starting amount you invest, meaning to say, kumbaga ito yung puhunan na ginawa nating panimula. A larger initial deposit reduces the need for high periodic contributions or longer investment periods. Tama naman na kapag mas malaki yung initial deposit mo or pinasok mo dun sa investment, malaki din yung interest na papasok sa'yo, and yung laking interest na yun is may difference siya dun sa mga minimum na nag-invest, instead na mahaba or let's say 12 years yung gugugulin mo na maka-earn or ma-reach mo yung future value goal mo doon. Kapag mas malaki yung initial deposit mo, hindi mo na kailangan gugulin yung 12 years. Hindi ka na pwedeng lumagpas doon kasi malaki naman na. Ma-reach mo na yung future goal mo. So, by adjusting one of these variables while keeping the others constant, you can calculate what it will take to reach your desired future value, the amount you aim to have at the end of the investment period.
For our next topic, we will be calculating the required interest rate. If you know the future value that you want when you want it, and the initial deposit and periodic deposits you can afford, what interest rate do you require to meet your goal? We can simply answer that question by using the rate function, which we first encountered in chapter 18. For me to be able to show you how the function works, allow me to use the given example. Sabi dito, if you need $100,000 10 years from now, are starting with $10,000 and can deposit $500 per month, what interest rate is required to meet your goal? To get the interest rate, let's use the rate function. Don't forget to put the equal sign every functions. Then rate, open and close parentheses, and per, or the number of deposits over the term of the investment, which is 120 kasi 10 years times 12 months. And then PMT, or the amount invested in each deposit, or the $500 or 500 pesos na monthly payment. Next is PV, or the initial investment or initial deposit na 10,000 pesos or $10,000. And then FV, or the future value of the investment, which is 100,000 pesos or $100,000. Next is
the type of deposit, wherein we have the zero default for end of period deposits. So zero. And guess or a percentage value that Excel uses as a starting point for calculating the interest rate na may default na 10%. And then times or multiply by 12 months. Okay, so upon using the rate function, we come up with the answer of 6%. Ibig sabihin, for us to be able to have a 100,000 pesos or $100,000 10 years from now, we'll be having a required interest rate of 6%.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nelfa Mae, and I will be discussing on how to determine the number of periods required to reach the investment goal using the NPER function. So this function is essential for financial as it helps investor estimate the time needed to achieve the target savings. So the NPER function calculates the number of periods required to reach a future value based on a fixed interest rate, periodic rates, and an initial investment. So the formula is rate multiplied by deposit per month times present value, which is the initial investment, the future value or the investment goal, and the type of deposit. So para mas maintindihan natin is magbibigay ako ng example. Let's say an individual wants to accumulate 1 million for retirement. She has an initial investment of 50,000. Then monthly deposit of 1,000 and an expected 5% interest rate. So using this data, we can calculate the required number of months using the NPER function. So try natin. NPER. So since na yung rate natin, yung interest rate natin is annual, kaya need natin siyang i-divide into 12 para makuha natin yung monthly interest rate. Then, multiply natin siya sa deposit per month, initial deposit, and also the future value, and last, the deposit type. So this means that the 50,000 initial investment and 1,000 monthly interest, 1,000 monthly deposit will take a approximate 349 months and 29.1 year to accumulate the 1 million at 5% interest rate. So this method is useful for financial planning, helping individuals to adjust their deposit amounts, interest rates, and investment. So this will end my discussion, and I hope na may natutunan kayo. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Mikaellah Reyes and I am discussing to you on how to calculate the required regular deposit. So our formula here is equal sign PMT and we get the rate. So the rate here is fixed rate of interest over the term of the investment. N per is the number of deposits over the term of investment. PV is the initial investment, FB is the future value of the investment, and type is the type of deposit, and we use 0, the default, for end of the period deposits, and 1 for the beginning of period deposits. So here's an example. Suppose that you want to end up with 50,000 in 15 years to finance your child's college education. If you have no initial deposit and you expect to get 7.5% interest over the term of the investment, how much do you need to deposit each month to reach your target? So our interest rate or the annual rate here is 7.5. Term or the years is 15 years. Initial deposit is 0. Our future value is 50,000. Our deposit type is 0. Now, let's compute the monthly deposit. So we need to use our formula. Equal sign PMT, and our rate is 7.5% divided by 12, and then the N per is 15 times 12, and our initial deposit is 0, our future value is 50,000, and our deposit type is 0. So our monthly deposit is negative 151.01.
Good day, everyone. I'm Mylene Luna, and I will discuss calculating the required initial deposit. For the final standard, for the future value calculation, suppose that you know when you want to reach your goal. Kung magkano nga ba ang magiging deposit nito sa isang taon or kung magkano yung magiging kabuuan nito at kung magkano yung magiging interest rate nito. That then, do you need to deposit initial to achieve your future value target? To find the answer, we use the PB function which uses the following syntax from the point of view of an investment. And this is a PB function formula. And isa-isay natin yung mga nakapalob rito. First is rate. The fixed rate of interest over the term of the investment. And the second one is N per or end period. The number of deposit over the term of the investment. And next is PMT. The amount investment with each deposit. And next is PV, the future value of the investment. And the last is type. The type of deposit, use 0 for end of the period deposit. And use 1 naman for the beginning of the period deposit. And para mas maintindihan at maunawaan natin, may illustration tayo rito na sasagutan. At gagamitin natin ang ating formula na PB function. This is the illustration. And try natin sagutan or kunin ang initial deposit gamit ang PB function. At para makuha natin ang initial deposit, meron tayo rito interest rate. Term year, deposit per month, future value, and deposit type. And ang first natin gagawin is ilalagay natin ang PV and open parenthesis, then yung rate, i-divide natin siya sa 12 kasi ang equivalent ng 1 year is 12. And then, comma, then yung yung years. Tapos ita-times natin yun sa 12 ulit. Tapos yun naman yung natin, magiging end period natin. And then next, comma, yung ano naman, deposit per month, and then kama ulit, future value, and kama ulit, deposit type. And ang last natin gagawin is, i-close na natin yung parentheses, then enter, yun na yung sagot. Ganun lang kadali. At ano naman, tas pwede mo namang palitan if ever tumaas yung interest rate, pwede mo siyang palitan. Magiging 8% ganun. Magpapalit na rin yung initial deposit. Tas kung madadagdagan naman yung taon, gagawin mong 4 years, mag-change ulit yung sa baba, yung sa initial deposit. And then papalitan mo din yung sa deposit per month niya, mag-change ulit yung sa baba. Then add ulit ng future value. Change ulit yung sa initial deposit. Ganun lang kadali yung kung paano kunin ang initial deposit gamit ang PB function. Yun lang. Thank you.
So hello everyone, my name is Ida Michelle Caguioa, and I will be showcasing you on how we are going to calculate the future value with varying interest rates. So the future value examples that we worked with so far have all assumed that the interest rate remain constant over the term of investment. This will always be true for fixed rate investments. However, such as mutual funds, stocks, and bonds, using a fixed rate of interest is, at best, a guess about what the average rate will be over the term. So basically, in a real scenario, interest rates can change every year. And in doing so, Excel offers the future value schedule functions, which returns the future value of some initial amount given a schedule of interest. And if we want to know the average rate earned on the investment, we use the rate function where n per is the number of values in the interest rate schedule, EMT is 0, PV is the initial deposit, and FV is the negative of the future value schedule result. So we're just going to use this as it helps us to compare and understand the investments with these varying rates over a versus to a fixed rate. This is to compare and understand of which is best between with varying rates or to a fixed rate. So let's get over with the examples that we have here. So first, let's follow the one here in this photo. For example, the following formula returns the future value of initial 10,000 deposit that makes 5%, 6%, and 7% over 3 years. So in order to get the future value, we just type in first the equal sign, future value, schedule, open close parenthesis, then your principal, which is the 10,000 pesos, and then comma, and your schedule of over 3 years from 5% up to 7%. Close that, enter, we will have the result of 11,909.10 pesos. Now to calculate the average rate, so we get this equal sign, type in rate, open close parenthesis, and then rows, another open close parenthesis again, your schedule over 3 years from again 5% to 7%, open close parenthesis, your comma, zero, your principal of 1,000 pesos, then negative sign, that means schedule, principal of 10,000, and your schedule over the 3 years, close parentheses, and you have 6%. Be careful when you're trying to type in, especially in this part, the row. If you're just trying the rows, actually, rows, if you're just going to type in as row, it will show a different result, which is basically like that. It's more better to type in as rows instead. Let's do another one with 100,000 pesos. So to get the future value, type in the fee schedule, your principal, comma. This time, there's a rate that's over 5 years. Type in that, open, close your parent, and then close that, and you have 133,179.47 pesos. That's your future value for this one. And now to get the average rate, open. Equal sign, type in rate, then close parenthesis, and then rows, another open close parenthesis with your schedule from over the 5 years, from 5% to 6% of 2009. Close that. Type in 0 for your PNT. Your PV should be your 100,000. Your future value schedule. The principal again. And your schedule over the 5 years. And close parenthesis. Please work. Okay. So that is your average rate for over 5 years. That is all that I have to discuss for you. Thanks for listening and goodbye.
Good day, everyone. I am Adrienne Mae Bolilan, and for today, I will be discussing average interest rate. So, what is average interest rate? It is the mean percentage charged by lenders on loans or paid by banks on deposits over a specific period. A while ago, calculating future value with varying interest rates have already discussed, and we already know how FV is calculated. But what if you want to know its average interest rate? If you want to know the average rate earned on the investment, use the rate function, where N per is the number of values in the interest rate schedule, PMT is 0, PV is the initial deposit, and FV is the negative of the FV schedule result. So, paano nga ba makukuha itong average rate? So, we have here the average rate formula and susundan lang natin siya. Equal sign. We have the rate, rows, schedule, which is itong 5% and 6%, close parenthesis, and itong 0,
principal, which is this 100,000, and the negative FE schedule, principal 100,000 ulit, and schedule, ito, 5% hanggang 6%. And close parenthesis. So, pag in-enter natin, yan. Mabas is 5.9%, which is yun yung average rate. So, meron pang isang way para ma-compute yung average rate gamit ito. We have here the insert function, rate. Okay mo yan. And ito, ilalagay mo itong mga ito dito. For answer, we have 5, empty 0, and PV, negative 100,000. So, kahit hindi mo pa siya i-OK or i-enter, meron na siyang result agad dito sa gilid, which is 5.9%.
Hello everyone, I am Ricah Joy Casaclang and I am discussing to you the building an investment schedule. Building an investment schedule, if you're planning future cash flow requirement or future retirement needs, it's often not enough just to know how much money you have at the end of an investment. You might need to also know how much money is in the investment account or fund at each period throughout the life of the investment. To understand an investment schedule when planning future financial needs such as cash flow management or retirement savings, it's not always enough to know the final amount you have at the end of an investment. It's also important to track how your investment grows over time and how much money is in your investment account at different periods. An investment schedule helps you see the value of your investment at each stage of its time. This allows you monitor growth over time, plan withdrawals if needed, adjust contribution based on financial goals. By tracking your investment periodically, you gain better control over your financial future and make informed decisions about saving and spending. To do this, you need to build an investment schedule. So what is an investment schedule? An investment schedule is a financial tool that helps track the growth of an investment over time. This is similar to an amortization schedule, except that it shows the future value of an investment at each period in the term of the investment. It is similar to an amortization schedule, but instead of showing how a loan balance decreases with payments, it shows how an investment increases in value at each period during its term. By using an investment schedule, you can see how your investment grows over time, track the impact of interest and compounding, plan for withdrawals or additional contribution. This schedule is especially useful for long-term financial planning, such as saving for retirement, where knowing the future value of an investment at different points can help in making informed decisions. To learn about amortization schedule. Building a loan amortization schedule. In a typical investment schedule, you need to take two things into account. We have the first one is the periodic deposit put into the investment, particularly the amount deposited and the frequency of the deposits. The frequency of the deposits determine the total number of periods in the investment. For example, a 10-year investment with semi-annual deposit has 20 periods. The second one is the compounding frequency of the investment, annual, semi-annually, and so on. Assuming that you know the APR, that is nominal annual interest rate, you can use the compounding frequency to determine the effect rate. Example, yung sa periodic deposits. Periodic deposits are the regular contribution to the investment. The frequency of this deposit has monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, annually. Determine the total number of periods in the investment. Example, if an investment lasts 10 years and deposits are made semi-annually, there will be 20 periods, 10 years times 2 deposits per year. Second one is yung compounding frequency. Compounding frequency refers to how often interest is applied to the investment. Interest may be compounded annually, semi-annually, and quarterly, monthly, and etc. Knowing the APR. APR is an annual percentage rate. Allows you to determine the effective rate, which accounts for the impact of compounding. Example, if an investment has monthly compounding but deposits are made semi-annually, interest will be accumulated each month before the next deposit is added.
So hello everyone, this time I'll show you how to calculate the effective rate per period. So we have here the effect and the nominal. So let's calculate the effective interest rate based on the nominal interest rate and the given number of sub-periods. Sa nominal naman, opposite lang siya. It compute based on the effective interest rate and also to the given number of sub-periods. So the first step, we must convert the nominal annual rate into the effective annual rate. Here, start with the effect. And ilagay mo lang yung nominal rate, which is the 2%, and the number of sub-periods, which is the 12 months. So, itong sub-periods, it represents the 12 months of a year or 365 in days. So we get the higher value, which is 20184. So mas mataas siya sa given na interest rate. So the second step is convert the effective annual rate to the nominal rate based on the deposit frequency. So start with the nominal and put effective interest rate, which is the 2%, and the given na number of sub-periods, which is 12. So we get the smaller interest rate na 19819. We can also check if I just use the nominal on the previously calculate effective interest rate and the given sub-periods na 12 months. So, bumalik siya sa original na 2%. So, this is the 3 steps so we can get the proper effective rate for each period. By following these steps, an investment schedule provides a clear picture of how an investment grows, helping in better financial planning and decision making.
Good day, everyone. I am Manuel, and I will be the one to discuss the conclusion as we wrap up our discussion in Chapter 19 entitled Building Investment Formulas. So, let us first highlight the key takeaways from this chapter. So, do you agree that learning how to use different functions in Excel makes investment calculations easier and more accurate? Of course, yes, since nasa digital world na tayo, where mostly naka-inline na tayo sa technology. So, in this chapter, involved dito yung word na investment. So, what is investment? So, si investment, siya ay ang allocation of money or resources into an asset, project, or business with the expectation of generating a return or profit. Ibig sabihin, sa madaling salita, yung money natin, yung extra money natin, imbis na patulugin natin sa bangko, ginagamit natin siya as investment or gagamitin natin siyang puhunan para mag-earn tayo in the future in a specific time. So, before we start sa kung ano yung benefit nitong pag-learn ng calculations or yung functions ng Excel, let us first have a recap kung ano ulit yung function na ginagamit sa Excel para i-calculate yung time value of money. So we have here FV or yung future value rate, which is yung fixed interest rate, and NPER is yung number of periods or yung term, and PMT yung amount deposited in the investment, kung ilan yung ininvest natin. And EV, it is the initial deposit, kung magkano yung starting na ininvest natin. So yung type of deposit, either beginning or ending ng period. So since alam na ulit natin kung ano yung function yung Excel function ng time value of money, ay take note na ang ating PV, if cash outflow siya or deposited or invested, dapat lalagyan natin siya ng negative sign. And kung cash inflow naman or expected na marireceive natin ang PV, it should be positive sign. So since alam na ulit natin yung Excel function, mag-move on na tayo sa benefit ng pag-learn ng function or pag-calculate ng ating time value of money sa Excel. So I have 4. Number 1, predicting future investment growth. When it comes up predicting ng future investment growth, it answers the question, how much will my investment grow? Magkano ba yung i-increase ng ating pera na ininvest in the future? Next one is comparing investment options. So, calculating time value of money in Excel also helps us in investment decisions. Either worth it ba yung isa or mas better ba yung isa. For example, you have 3 options. And then, kapag na-calculate natin siya, if positive siya, it is worth it. If negative, not. It helps also in calculating investment return. It answers the question, how much profit will I make? Itong calculating investment return, related siya sa predicting future investment growth. Sa predicting future investment growth, ang kino-compute is kung magkano ba yung total ng pera mo na ininvest mo in the future. While calculating investment return, ibig sabihin magkano ba yung kikitain mo in the period of time. So lastly is how much to invest today. So sa how much to invest today, Dito, for example, you are planning na mag-invest para sa iyong retirement or your retirement plans. For example, may goal ka na kailangan meron kang 100,000 na pera na pera kapag ka nag-resign ka na. So, dito, tutulungan niya tayo kung magkano ba yung kailangan nating i-invest para ma-reach yung goal na yun. So, next, done na tayo sa benefits. So, ngayon naman, ano ba yung benefit nito sa atin as accountancy students? Why are we studying this as accountancy students? Why accountancy students should learn Excel calculations? Number one, syempre, it saves time and reduces error. Dito, since kapag mag-manual calculations tayo, it is time-consuming and possible na we are prone to mistakes. While kapag Excel ang ginamit natin, it automates complex financial formulas that ensure us accurate na sagot or mga amounts. So next one is essential for financial analysis and investment decisions. Ibig sabihin, di ba, accountants are usually analyzes business transactions such as investments, syempre, and profitability. Ito naman, ang pag-calculate sa Excel, tinutulungan niya ang mga accountants para i-determine kung yung investment ba na ginawa ng isang company is worth it or not. And next is crucial for budgeting and financial planning. Because, di ba, businesses, usually nagre-rely sila sa kung ano yung what we call this, kung ano yung kung ano yung sinasabi ng accountant, kung ano yung na-forecast na expenses and revenue sa transactions ng businesses. So using time value of money, accountants can calculate how much to invest today for their future financial goals. So next one is highly valued by employees. So ito ay pinaka-importante since diba, we are living in a digital world where meron na tayong sari-sariling bubbles na more on gadgets tayo and social media, ganun. So, and ang mga kabataan ngayon is inclined sa mga technology. So, the employers now are expecting us to be proficient in Excel for financial modeling, auditing, and investment analysis. Kailangan master na natin ang Excel para ma-accept sa work. And syempre, mastering Excel makes us students job ready and so before I end our report, here's a thought to remember. The investment you can make is in yourself. Mastering Excel today will open doors to a successful accounting career tomorrow. Thank you, and we hope this discussion has helped you to see the power of Excel in investment and